And how can you be intentional with cannabis for those who use it a lot, but then they often get locked into the couch state and they just become a potato for the next 6 hours?
So this is our latest grow. We grow outdoors in the summer. Yeah, it's beautiful. This is a SS Haze. It smells so lovely and magical.
Smelling through the screen right now.
Do you smell it? Yeah. So yeah, we grow all our medicine here. And cannabis has been the one through line. And the reason that it's really the only thing that I work with people now. There's a lot of things coming out now with like ayahuasca where indigenous people in Peru, I've talked to some people and they're like, we're running out of ayahuasca, but we're like forced to sell it to Westerners because that's like now how we make money, but we can't grow it fast enough. So to me, it's like not to say you shouldn't do it, but if you're doing it every week, consider how much you're just taking. And a lot of ayahuasca is like, okay, there's this medicine and there's this beautiful grandmother spirit, and I just like want to get. So first off, cannabis is something you can grow and it's very abundant. Now, I think a lot of the spirit of her has been removed or hidden because of the way that we perceive it. Like you said, people getting stoned on the couch, or you can go to a dispensary. In Colorado, it's legal here. I can legally grow it and buy it and go to a dispensary, and there's like a million different products. And okay, this one, it's not just indica and sativa or hybrid. It's like they each do their specific things. And do you want to be happy and blissful? Do you want to do this? And it creates this concept of like, what are you going to do for me? Oh, I want to smoke this thing and I'm going to have less anxiety. I'm going to smoke this thing. I'm going to be happy, or I'm going to chill out. And that, to me, that is not at all how the medicine works. And if you take this approach of this is going to do something for me, you're getting rid of the sacred nature of what this plant is. This is a plant that I think that we evolved with, that's a piece of us, and we're communing with it. When I consume cannabis, it's like a dance. And I've had to learn how to work with the medicine. I don't just take it and say, okay, I want to feel this, I'm going to feel it. No. So when people smoke and they're like, oh, it gives me anxiety or it makes me paranoid, it's not the cannabis that's making you paranoid. This is just my experience. You're already anxious. It's just 10xing whatever you're feeling. You're already paranoid. It's just 10xing that. And you can either look at that and work through it, or you can be consumed by it. So I like to create ceremonial spaces and take people on cannabis journeys, teach them how to work with it, because it is something that you can go home and have your own relationship to it. You don't always have to be like working with a facilitator to do it, but I like to just give people that first nudge of like, oh, this is actually what's going on in your body. And when you think you're going into anxiousness, maybe that's just energy that needs to be moved. And let's like dance and move and let's open our voices and feel some stuff. And what you come to see is like cannabis more than anything else. And I don't want to make like super like this is the way, but from what I've seen, it has this incredible ability to integrate our teachings in the moment. So whereas like when you go to ayahuasca, like I went to Peru and I did some ceremonies, it's a heck of a journey to get down there. Dieta, it's very mindful and intentional, which I love. But then you're in the jungle having your head blown off, and then you need to come back to society and integrate, right? And that can be really, for a lot of people, that's really jarring because they get these incredible messages, but that's not the life they're living. Whereas with cannabis, like it doesn't take you that far away. And yes, you can smoke a lot and it can become this crazy psychedelic thing. But for me still, like I can take 1 or 2 puffs and that's it. And you're able to be in this state of, if I like, let's say when I was getting into the running stuff, I was, mostly just running sober, but every once in a while I would smoke a little bit and then go out in the trail. And I was able to just scan my body and notice things that I wasn't noticing before. Like, oh, I didn't realize I was breathing into that spot in my ribs, or I didn't realize I was being actually a little bit too tense on my feet. And in that moment, I integrate that. And then the next day when I'm running and I'm not on cannabis, it's still there. So there's something about it that's so like here that I think is really powerful.
Yeah, I want to highlight the medicine topic you talked about because I do view psychedelics especially, but also cannabis as medicine. And it's about the relationship with the herb and the substance. And I see all these people who do say it's medicinal, psychedelic medicine, cannabis medicine, plant medicine, whatever, but they do it excessively like you talked about. Yeah, but if it's truly a medicine, you don't pop ibuprofen every single day, even though it has very, very minimum adverse effect and is pretty safe. So it's an incongruence. You either believe it is medicine and you use it as medicinal, which there's a time and place and setting for, or you don't believe it's a medicine and you abuse it. But you can't live in both of them. You have to pick one.
Yeah, and a lot of people are in more of these spiritual conscious communities are just throwing around the term medicine. But I used to go to some of these parties and it's like, Really? Like cocaine at 3 a.m.? That's your calling this medicine? You know, it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I think that there is an interesting line where people get still a bit too, it's easy to cross that line. So with cannabis, there's something so earthly about it and simple, and it doesn't have, it's like, again, we grow our own stuff. It's very clean, simple, pure, made with love and intention. And in the right setting, it can be really great. And to your point about medicine, most people are on something in this world. And it gets into a bigger conversation, but food is medicine too. And when people cut one thing out because they're like, oh, I don't want to do that bad, they often sacrifice the fact that they have a relationship to it. I'll give you an example. I've been making alcohol. This is on my label.
Oh, nice.
This is a wine, and I haven't been an alcohol drinker other than like college, pretty much, and a couple of years out. But I just never felt good with alcohol. Like I was the person who got more uncomfortable when I drank. But another example of like just reading signs of the universe. One day, Aja and I were out and we harvested a ton of grapes, and then we reached out to a friend, and she's like, "Hey, I have like endless amounts of grapes if you guys want to harvest them." So we had like 50 pounds of grapes, and I'm like, let's try to make wine. That would be cool. Really ever liked wine. And I started making it, and I just fell in love with the process. And it's shifting my relationship to it. A good example, like, alcohol has been used for a long time as a medicine. And then I got out of alcohol. I started, like, my friend would have whiskey, like, oh, you got to try it. I would take the smallest sip I could imagine possible. And the energy that you feel on your tongue is like, whoa. So when I think about people just knocking back shots, like you don't realize how much energy you're just taking back and how it's affecting you. Now, if you have a tiny little sip of it and you really feel like the medicine, the medicinal aspect of it, it can be powerful. But it's in our culture, it's gotten so overblown. So I look at it like everything is in relationship, because if you say, okay, I don't like something, I'm going to cut it out. Well, it's very easy just to replace it with something else. And food is also an addiction, and food can be a positive or negative medicine depending on how we use it. So a lot of the mindful eating stuff we do with people, like on our retreats, is, hey, like, let's sit down. Like, I'm not going to tell you that eating waffles is bad. Like, we had waffles for breakfast yesterday, but they're going to be made really well and made with love and care and good ingredients. And we're going to sit here and we're going to enjoy them. Now, if you're sitting down and you're stressed out and you're like struggling and you're working and you're shoving food down your throat, it's going to be that exact same meal is going to have a different effect on you than if you're just sitting there and you're present and you're aware and you're chewing slowly. To me, it always comes back to that, the intention of how we're experiencing something, not so much even the what.
Hey Seekers, if you enjoyed watching that short clip, I strongly recommend clicking here for the full-length episode. Here's to discovering more valuable life stories with practical mental health insights. Thank you for watching, and until next time, peace.